Before I get this yap session started, I do want to warn you guys, I am sick, but the show must go on. So recently, I've been rewatching one of my first introductions to anime as a medium. I don't really know how or why it came over me, but I just thought to myself one day, yeah, I'm gonna rewatch Saint Seiya, or Guardians of the Zodiac, to how it's known in the West. When I was growing up in Mexico, it was Los Caballeros del Zodiaco. Released in 1986 and animated by the one and only Toei Animation. And if I were to describe Saint Seiya in simple terms, I would describe it as the power of friendship, but with some cool battle armor. And definitely a lot more violence than some of the other power of friendship type animes that are out there, like Fairy Tail. Now, I was first introduced to Saint Seiya back when I was either 6 or 7, and at the time I was hanging out with my tío who just had it on in the background. Now, as a child, I probably shouldn't have been anywhere near that. However, I thought it was awesome. I'd never seen anything like the Saint Cloths in American cartoons. I'd never seen a storyline where an older brother was literally trying to kill his younger brother because of the resentment that he had for him. And while watching stuff like, I don't know, SpongeBob, I definitely never saw somebody's ear get chopped off in episode 1. And that's just the tip of the iceberg with episode 1. Episode 1 literally starts with a tournament arc. And the Galaxian Wars arc, as well as the first introduction of like Iki into the series, is what I remember the most. And that's probably due to the fact that my uncle only had probably the first 25-ish episodes on DVD. So after the Galaxian Wars arc, for years, I didn't know what happened. Even now, I still don't quite know how it ends. But that's okay. See, as I was growing up, I would catch bits and pieces of Saint Seiya lore, just every couple episodes of different parts of the series. Like I remember when Shiryu literally gouges his eyes out in the name of friendship or whatever. I remember Seiya donning the gold cloth of Sagittarius for the first time. I have bits and pieces of lore sprinkled in my brain, but no context. Kind of like One Piece, except we're not going to go down that rabbit hole because I've had so much of One Piece spoiled for me. But anyway, I think the reason why I'm still so drawn to Saint Seiya even now is, one, it was my first experience to anime aside from like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! But it was also a shared experience that I had with somebody dear to me, with my uncle. And I just really like the ideas and the themes and the designs of like the armor. It's just a series that has always really stuck with me. And in this day and age of shonen, I'm not going to call it shonen slop, but a shonen filled industry, I still think that Saint Seiya stands the test of time. The animation is horrendous at moments. The fight scenes are not as hype as like a Jujutsu Kaisen, a Demon Slayer. But its narrative is still really special. Because Saint Seiya isn't just about defending the gold cloth. It's not just about becoming stronger through your own sense of individualism. In fact, at the very beginning of the series, Iki is the warning to the audience for that. It's a series about the power of friendship and how your Cosmo is not just strong on its own, but it's even stronger when you have some extremely reliable friends around you. And I'm really excited to continue seeing how the story goes. I'm only on episode like 25-ish, and it's always that sense of camaraderie that keeps me coming back to watching just another episode or two of Saint Seiya a night. That and the opening. If you guys have not listened to Pegasus Fantasy by Makeup, I highly recommend you do so. I don't even care if you don't do anything else Saint Seiya related in the rest of your guys' life. I just think that that song is an absolute bop. Even today, probably still in my top 10 anime openings of all time. Now, if you guys are looking for a recommendation on a good classic shonen, I think Saint Seiya is up there. And it's a lot more influential than you guys would think. I mean, to my understanding, I think it's still pretty well known in Japan. It just never really stuck around in the States. I was lucky enough that it stuck around in Mexico, because over there, even today, I think it still pops off. Like, no, you're not going to go see a Taquerias Seiya like you are going to see Taquerias Goku or Taquerias Dragon Ball wherever you go in Mexico, but it's still pretty popular. I even remember for Dia de Reyes, which is a pretty popular holiday over in there in Mexico, or at least in certain regions of Mexico, that I saw a Dragon Shiryu figurine somewhere in El Tianguis or a shop somewhere. And I begged my parents for that figure. I didn't get it, but I remember begging for it. But again, with all that out of the way, I highly recommend Saint Seiya for anybody, even if you're getting into anime. It set a lot of the groundwork for shonen series down the road, and I think that it's a good starter series. It's a little gory, but I think most people would enjoy it as a start. Especially when you have characters like Shun around with his pink armor and his luscious green hair. Yeah, no, I think most people would dig that. But let me know what you guys think. Have you guys watched Saint Seiya before? And if so, who's your favorite saint? For me, at least now, it is definitely Shiryu, as when I was growing up, he was a green dragon. That was awesome to me. And I also am just aware that he has some pretty big character moments coming up in the series. So, for me, Shiryu still is king. And if you haven't watched Saint Seiya, what's your favorite classic shonen series? It can be anything. I'll most likely do a follow-up video once I finish Saint Seiya, but until then, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate the continued support. If you liked what you saw, please feel free to share the video or subscribe. This has been Sagi Taco, and I will see you guys in the very near future for another video. Hasta luego.